America faces its most dangerous weather crisis of December as a catastrophic pattern flip unleashes three separate threats simultaneously. But the immediate danger starts tonight as the first of three surprise snow clippers begins its devastating assault on unprepared communities. Amtrak has suspended all service across the Midwest and Ohio Valley, stranding thousands of passengers during peak holiday travel season. Greyhound and other bus services have canceled routes through Monday morning, eliminating backup transportation options for millions. State transportation departments deploy 3,000 snowplows, but equipment cannot maintain pace with snowfall rates exceeding 3 inches hourly. Economic disruption cascades through supply chains as distribution centers close and delivery services suspend operations across affected regions. Retail establishments report panic purchasing of winter emergency supplies, with generators, space heaters, and road salt completely depleted. Natural gas pricing increases 45% in spot markets as demand surges beyond all previous winter peak consumption records. But amid these extraordinary challenges, American communities demonstrate the resilience that defines our character during crisis. Neighbor helping neighbor becomes the survival story as people organize welfare checks for elderly residents and resource-sharing networks. Churches and community centers expand warming shelter capacity, while local businesses extend hours to provide emergency refuge for stranded travelers. Volunteer snow removal teams coordinate through social media platforms, ensuring vulnerable residents remain accessible to emergency services. This isn't just another winter storm. This represents a fundamental breakdown of normal atmospheric circulation patterns that meteorologists call impossible. These acts of compassion create lasting community bonds that endure long after snow melts and temperatures return to seasonal norms. Now let's examine the atmospheric mechanics behind this extraordinary weather sequence that climatologists call theoretically impossible. Alberta clippers derive their name from fast-moving 19th century sailing ships, representing nature's most efficient snow delivery systems. These disturbances originate in western Canadian provinces, racing southeast at velocities approaching 60 miles per hour across populated territories. The northern branch of the jet stream provides both energy source and steering mechanism for these rapidly moving weather systems. When multiple clippers queue up across the Canadian prairies like train cars, they establish relentless assault patterns on American infrastructure. Current satellite imagery reveals 5 distinct disturbances positioned across western Canada, each carrying significant snow and cold potential. Northwest flow acts as atmospheric conveyor belt, continuously transporting Arctic air masses and moisture toward vulnerable population centers. The persistent ridge over the Pacific Northwest prevents all moderating influences from reaching the storm track corridor. This creates atmospheric channeling that forces every weather system through the same geographic funnel, overwhelming removal capabilities. The polar vortex is fractured and displaced southward from Hudson Bay, Canada, directing consecutive rounds of Arctic air toward heavily populated regions. Lake effect enhancement occurs when fast-moving clippers encounter relatively warm Great Lakes waters, creating convective instability. Temperature contrast between lake surfaces and overlying air masses produce additional heavy snowfall in narrow bands. These enhanced precipitation corridors generate snowfall rates exceeding 5 inches per hour in pathways just 15 miles wide. The rapid movement of clipper systems prevents significant deepening but allows swift progression across vast territories in hours. Arctic air masses trailing these systems often produce more dangerous conditions than the snow events themselves. Clear skies and fresh snow cover establish perfect radiational cooling for record-breaking low temperatures that persist for days. The polar vortex displacement responsible for this crisis originated from sudden stratospheric warming events in late November. This weakening allowed the circular current of Arctic winds to fragment and migrate southward toward the mid-latitudes. Cold Arctic air colliding with relatively warmer air creates the stormier conditions and temperature gradients we're experiencing. As we examine the remarkable pattern reversal ahead, computer models show unprecedented agreement about the coming transformation. Three separate waves of Arctic invasion will impact the United States through mid-December, each more severe than the last. The same blocking pattern creating this weekend's Arctic hail will completely reorganize by December 18th. The western ridge amplifies and expands eastward, establishing subtropical flow patterns that pump Gulf moisture northward. This creates the potential for record-breaking warmth during traditionally cold periods, fundamentally altering holiday weather expectations. Snow accumulated during this weekend's crisis will melt rapidly during the warm-up, creating secondary flooding concerns across all affected watersheds. Urban drainage systems designed for gradual snow melt cannot handle accelerated melting from 30-inch accumulations in mountain areas. The temperature oscillation represents more than just weather. It exemplifies the new reality of climate volatility affecting infrastructure planning. Traditional seasonal forecasting methods become inadequate when atmospheric patterns achieve amplitudes never observed in historical records. This event will likely trigger comprehensive reviews of emergency management protocols and infrastructure design standards nationwide. Winter preparedness strategies must evolve to address rapid transitions between extreme cold and unprecedented warmth within single seasons. But immediate focus remains on surviving the next 72 hours as the most dangerous phase of this crisis unfolds. Tonight's clipper represents the opening salvo of this atmospheric warfare, targeting a thin but deadly stripe from South Dakota to Maryland. Saturday evening through Sunday morning represents peak danger, when Arctic air combines with fresh snow cover for life-threatening conditions. Emergency services may become unavailable due to equipment failures and impossible travel conditions during this critical window. Self-reliance becomes essential as communities prepare for potential isolation lasting 48 to 72 hours minimum. Water treatment facilities implement freeze protection protocols, while power companies brace for equipment failures in extreme temperatures. Hospitals activate emergency staffing plans and prepare for increased admissions from hypothermia, carbon monoxide poisoning, and weather-related injuries. Don't miss tomorrow's critical update where we'll reveal which communities face the highest probability of complete infrastructure failure. We'll examine exclusive computer modeling data showing the Christmas week heat wave that could establish all-time December temperature records. Plus, survival strategies from Arctic weather experts who've guided communities through similar extreme temperature events successfully. The Great Thaw analysis reveals shocking details about rapid snowmelt flooding that could create secondary disasters across multiple watersheds. Will December 2025 become the most extreme weather month in American history? The atmospheric patterns suggest possibilities that astound climatologists. Pierre, South Dakota, through Cedar Rapids, Davenport, and into Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, faces 2 to 6 inches of accumulation in rapid-fire succession. Tomorrow's update includes real-time reports from emergency management coordinators as they implement unprecedented crisis response protocols. These first-hand accounts provide invaluable insights for surviving infrastructure failures and extended isolation during extreme weather. Stay informed, stay prepared, and stay connected to your community during this historic weather sequence that will reshape December forever. This is the defining weather event of 2025. Don't miss tomorrow's life-saving forecast analysis. This quick-hitting situation starts in the northwest this afternoon and reaches the southeast by evening, catching millions off guard. The sneaky nature of clipper systems means snowfall rates can exceed 2 inches per hour in narrow bands just 50 miles wide. Friday's second clipper follows a nearly identical track but carries more moisture and energy, threatening to paralyze transportation networks. Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, and West Virginia face the primary impact, while the I-95 corridor receives only a dusting before the system weakens. Tonight's surprise snow clippers target 85 million Americans, while life-threatening Arctic air prepares to shatter 150-year temperature records. Washington, D.C. may see a skiff of snow Friday, but the real drama unfolds Saturday as the third and most powerful clipper develops. Don't miss what happens next. Saturday's system covers a massive area from Montana to Maryland with significant winter weather impacts. This clipper takes the same devastating path as Thursday's system, but extends much farther east, potentially reaching Pennsylvania and New York. Combined snow totals from all three clippers could reach 8 to 12 inches across the hardest hit corridor from Iowa to West Virginia. But here's the terrifying revelation meteorologists discovered at 3 a.m. this morning. These snow events are merely the prelude to the main event. Sunday morning inaugurates the most severe Arctic blast of the decade, with temperatures dropping 40 to 50 degrees below normal across the Midwest. Minneapolis faces actual air temperatures of minus 30 degrees, while wind chills plummet to minus 50 degrees throughout Minnesota and South Dakota. These conditions make exposed skin vulnerable to frostbite in under 5 minutes, while hypothermia onset occurs within 10 minutes outdoors. Fort Dodge and Des Moines, Iowa target minus 15 degrees, while Milwaukee and Chicago struggle to reach minus 10 degrees Sunday morning. Even Bloomington, Illinois drops to minus 10 degrees as the Arctic invasion penetrates farther south than any December event since 1899. But here's the shocking twist that will leave you speechless. In just 7 days, the same regions face a complete weather reversal unlike anything in recorded history. Indianapolis hovers near 0 degrees, while Louisville, Kentucky experiences unprecedented December cold at the 0 degree mark. The cold air mass extends its reach into Oklahoma City and Tulsa, where 20-degree morning temperatures shatter seasonal expectations. Central Kansas faces 15-degree readings, while even Nashville, Tennessee plummets to a shocking 15 degrees Sunday morning. Upstate New York, north of Albany, experiences negative temperatures, while only southern Florida maintains normal 70-degree readings. At the 3-minute mark, here's the detailed regional survival guide that emergency management officials don't want broadcast publicly. Northern Plains Survival Zone, Minnesota, Wisconsin, North Dakota, South Dakota, enter a winter warfare scenario with life-threatening conditions developing rapidly. Tonight through Friday, first clipper delivers 3 to 5 inches with wind gusts to 40 miles per hour, creating whiteout conditions across Interstate 35 and Interstate 94. Saturday evening through Sunday dawn, third clipper adds another 4 to 6 inches, while Arctic air crashes temperatures to minus 30 degrees actual. Combined impacts, 8 to 10 inches of snow, followed by wind chills to minus 50 degrees, making rural areas completely inaccessible for 48 hours. Critical survival actions. Consolidate family into one heated room. Test backup generators immediately. Stock 72 hours of emergency supplies now. Why are emergency officials calling this the most extreme weather whiplash event ever documented? The answer will fundamentally change how you prepare for winter. Transportation shutdown. Interstate 35 from Minneapolis to Iowa becomes impassable Saturday night through Monday morning due to 0 visibility. Midwest Impact Corridor. Iowa, Illinois, Indiana face triple strike scenario with accumulating dangers from successive clipper systems. Des Moines forecast, 4 inches tonight, 3 inches Friday, 5 inches Saturday equals 12 inches total, with drifting to 4 feet in open areas. Springfield, Illinois projection, 6 inches from first system, 4 inches from second, 7 inches from third, creates 17-inch total accumulation. Indianapolis, complications. Snow changes to sleet during second system, creating deadly ice layer beneath Saturday's fresh snow accumulation. Chicago metropolitan area, 2 inches from each system totals 6 inches, but lake effect enhancement could triple amounts in narrow bands. Interstate 80 closure timeline, Friday 8 p.m. through Sunday noon across Iowa and Illinois, due to 0 visibility and overwhelming accumulation. Ohio Valley Strike Zone. Cincinnati, Louisville, Columbus experience escalating impacts as each successive clipper strengthens. Cincinnati forecast. 3 inches tonight, 4 inches Friday, 8 inches Saturday creates 15-inch total with significant ice glazing underneath. Columbus, Ohio trajectory. 2 inches from first clipper, 5 inches from Saturday system, as track shifts slightly north of original projection. At exactly 3 minutes, I'll expose the hour-by-hour survival timeline for every affected region, plus the critical mistake that could prove fatal. Louisville, Kentucky outlook. Moderate impacts from first two systems before Saturday. Clipper delivers 6 to 9 inches in concentrated time frame. Charleston, West Virginia mountain enhancement. Elevation increases snow totals to 4 to 8 inches from first system, 12 inches total possible. Interstate 71 and Interstate 64 impacts. Both corridors face closures Saturday evening through Sunday afternoon due to impossible travel conditions. Great Lakes amplification zone. Michigan, Wisconsin, Northern Ohio experience exponential enhancement as clippers interact with lake effects. Milwaukee and Madison combined forecast 5 inches from clippers plus 10 inches from lake enhancement equals 15 inches total accumulation. Detroit metropolitan projection, 6 inches from clipper systems with additional lake enhancement producing locally heavy accumulations to 12 inches. Grand Rapids blizzard scenario. Clipper snow combines with Lake Michigan effects for sustained 45 miles per hour winds and 18 inches of accumulation. Western New York lake effect special. Concentrated bands south of Watertown produce focused accumulations reaching 17 inches north of Syracuse. Cleveland and Erie, Pennsylvania danger zones. Lake Erie enhancement creates narrow corridors with over 20 inches of snow in 36 hours. Appalachian Mountain Zone, West Virginia, Eastern Kentucky, Western Pennsylvania receive substantial impacts enhanced by elevation effects. Right now, this very moment, meteorological chaos is organizing across Western Canada as multiple clipper systems queue up like freight trains. Pittsburgh, gateway position, 5 inches from first clipper, 8 inches from Saturday system as storm tracks closer to metropolitan area. Eastern Kentucky mountains. Orographic enhancement produces 6 to 12 inches per system, with total accumulations potentially reaching 25 inches. West Virginia high country. Elevations above 2,500 feet witness extreme accumulations, with combined totals exceeding 30 inches in focused areas. Mountain community isolation. Remote areas face complete cutoff from emergency services for minimum 96 hours following clipper passage. Northeast Terminal Zone. Pennsylvania, New York, Vermont, New Hampshire receive diminished but still significant impacts from weakening systems. Albany and Adirondacks, 6 to 10 inches Sunday as Saturday's clipper maintains enough strength for travel disruptions across eastern New York. Buffalo lake effect amplification. Saturday clipper passage triggers massive lake effect event with 24 inches possible in traditional snow belts. Vermont Green Mountains and New Hampshire White Mountains. Orographic lifting produces 8 to 15 inches with wind-scoured drifts reaching 8 feet. New York State Thruway concerns. Entire 570-mile route faces closure possibilities Sunday morning through Monday afternoon. Don't miss the next shocking revelation. The Arctic blast following these clippers will establish temperature records that stand for decades. The bottom is about to fall out of the thermometer across the northern tier, with actual temperatures plummeting to minus 30 degrees by Sunday morning. Sunday morning brings the harshest air mass of the 21st century, with temperatures plummeting 50 degrees below normal across vast territories. Wind chill calculations become meaningless when combined air and wind temperatures approach the physiological limits of human survival outdoors. Power grid strain reaches critical levels as heating demand surges to levels not experienced since the polar vortex disasters of 2014 and 2019. Natural gas distribution systems face potential freeze-ups where infrastructure lacks adequate Arctic protection protocols. Vehicle breakdowns become life-threatening emergencies when temperatures drop below equipment design specifications across entire metropolitan areas. Emergency warming centers prepare for maximum capacity as residential heating costs skyrocket beyond affordability for millions of families. But here's the development that has long-range forecasters completely baffled. Next week brings a temperature reversal of truly historic proportions. The same atmospheric pattern creating this weekend's Arctic hell will completely flip by December 18th, bringing spring-like warmth. Places experiencing minus 40 degrees below normal Sunday could witness plus 40 degrees above normal just 7 days later. This represents an 80-degree temperature swing in 1 week, the most extreme weather oscillation ever recorded in North American history. Frostbite can occur within 2 minutes of exposure, while wind chills approaching minus 50 degrees threaten to strain power grids beyond capacity. Missouri and Illinois face a meteorological roller coaster that will challenge infrastructure designed for gradual temperature changes. The giant ridge of high pressure responsible for western warmth will migrate eastward, establishing dominance over the entire continental United States. Only extreme northeastern Maine retains cold air for any significant duration as the, quote, Great Thaw of December 2025 begins. December 18th, temperature anomalies show widespread readings 30 to 40 degrees above normal, from the Rockies to the Atlantic coast. This pattern demonstrates potential for persistence through Christmas week, creating what meteorologists call a Christmas heat wave. The Climate Prediction Center's 8 to 14-day outlook confirms this extraordinary reversal with high confidence across multiple computer models. But before we reach this remarkable warm-up, immediate survival strategies become essential for navigating the next 72 hours safely. Here are the critical actions you must take within the next few hours before these systems overwhelm emergency response capabilities. Action 1. Emergency supplies for minimum 96 hours, including non-perishable food, water, medications, battery-powered radio, and multiple light sources. Stock extra batteries for all devices. Test backup power sources, and ensure carbon monoxide detectors function properly before power outages occur. 235 million Americans will experience at or below freezing temperatures in the next week, setting the stage for infrastructure collapse across multiple states. Action 2. Vehicle winterization with complete fuel tanks, emergency kits, ice scrapers, jumper cables, and survival supplies in every automobile. Maintain sand or cat litter for traction, plus folding shovels, tow straps, and high-calorie emergency food that resists freezing. Action 3. Residential heating preparation, including backup heat sources, pipe freeze prevention, and emergency shelter area establishment. Let faucets drip during coldest periods. Open cabinet doors under sinks. No main water shutoff location, and designate one room for family consolidation. Action 4. Communication planning with family members and neighbors, because cellular infrastructure fails during extreme weather events. Establish check-in schedules with people outside the affected region. Charge all electronic devices and maintain landline telephone service if available. Action 5. Transportation cancellation for all non-essential travel from Friday evening through Monday morning as conditions become unsurvivable. If emergency travel becomes unavoidable, depart early with full emergency supplies and notify others of exact routes and destination timing. The transportation consequences of these consecutive systems cannot be overstated, with major highways facing unprecedented closure duration. Chicago O'Hare and Minneapolis-St. Paul airports have already canceled 1,200 flights for the weekend period, with more cancellations expected.